Welcome back to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I'm Ollie Hayes, and today I'm bringing you a 24/7 news report for the 17th of October. So, the international break's nearly over, and with that comes some injury news, and that's our headline news today. And the headline is that James Garner and Tim Iroegbunam have suffered injury setbacks over the international break, with Garner having treatment on his back. That seems to be a recurring issue that for James Garner. And Tim Iroegbunam, he's suffered a stress fracture in his foot. We'll start with Garner and my initial reaction to that. I think it's definitely seeming to be a problem this with James Garner. He has suffered with back injuries, especially in his time at Everton. He's suffered with that quite a lot. So it does seem to be a little bit of a recurring issue, this one. But it's disappointing because I thought against Newcastle, he did a really good job as a makeshift right back. Putting him in difficult circumstances. He had a very good game, in my opinion, at right back. Obviously, kept a clean sheet, our first clean sheet of the season. So I think it's a little bit disappointing to see James Garner suffer this setback. I think he probably would have liked to put a run in the team together, and build on the Newcastle performance. So it's a little bit disappointing. And also, my reaction to Tim Iroegbunam's injury, I think that's another one because he was a player that started the season relatively well. Obviously, he was thrown in very difficult circumstances. We didn't have a lot of bodies in midfield. We didn't have many numbers to call upon. And once called upon with Tim Iroegbunam, I think he had a relatively decent start to the season. I thought he was quite positive. I think he was probably one of our shining lights in the first 3 or 4 games where we did suffer defeat in all of them. So I think it is a little bit disappointing. It maybe stunts his development this season a little bit. And with James Garner, he's probably going to be monitored from game to game. Obviously, they will both miss Saturday's trip to Portman Road against Ipswich, but James Garner's one seems a little bit less. It's going to be a little bit less serious, a little bit less time. But with Iroegbunam's, obviously, it's a stress fracture, and that's probably going to be a more lengthy one. So it's disappointing, but both will be out for a period of time. Hopefully, we can see them back to full fitness soon, and obviously, it just gives us more bodies in the team to rely upon. But we might as well focus on some wider fitness news as well. It was confirmed today by Sean Dyche in his press conference that Seamus Coleman and Vitaly Mykolenko are both back in full training, and they are back to full fitness, and they will be available for Saturday's trip to Ipswich. Branthwaite as well. That's another one that people will probably be interested in. He's going to be monitored in the next 24 hours. That one's a little bit more touch and go than Vitaly Mykolenko and Seamus Coleman. I think we saw at the start of the season when we missed Jared Branthwaite in all those games, we saw how much of a difference he makes to the team. Obviously, he did miss the Newcastle game, and we managed to keep a clean sheet, but he does make such a difference that I think he shores up the back four so much. So I'm praying, I'm hoping that he's going to be fit for Saturday's trip to Ipswich. Obviously, as I said before, Dyche did confirm that it will be a relatively touch and go one. He is going to be monitored in the next 24 hours or so, but another one probably on the minds of a lot of Evertonians and mine especially making that long trip down to Ipswich on Saturday. I'm looking forward to it. But one shining light that we're all looking forward to watching is Iliman and Jai. That has been confirmed today by Sean Dyche that he did train today, and he is in contention for Saturday's trip to Ipswich. That's great news in my opinion. I think he had a very good game, a very good start to the season, and obviously a very good game against Newcastle. Kind of an unsung hero against Newcastle, in my opinion. I thought the way he got the ball to his feet and just, it gave a little bit of respite to defenders. And I think, his magic is going to be so crucial to unlocking Ipswich on Saturday. I think him being in the team is absolutely massive. It gives us a massive boost. And obviously, there was a lot of concern over the international break with him going out on international duty with Senegal, and him playing 60 minutes and coming off injured, hobbling off in one of those games. But in the second game against Malawi, he did come on and make a cameo appearance off the bench. He played 30 minutes in that game for Senegal. So I have no doubt in my mind that he will be in contention. And he'll be playing on Saturday, and hopefully he'll be fit and firing and back to his wizardry self. But we're going to focus now on some different news. We're going to go away from the squad and on the pitch. We're going to focus on some transfer news. And Gazzetta in Italy, they've reported our interest in Samuel Chukwueze of AC Milan. He was once of Villarreal, and Everton were actually in talks with Villarreal for his signature. I think it was maybe 18 months ago, 2 years ago. So it's one that keeps swirling around. It's a rumor that keeps propping up. It seems to be a player that Kevin Thelwell does like. Obviously, maybe the reason that it didn't happen when he was in a Villarreal shirt was because of our financial predicament. I think we did initially go in for a loan, but this one, as reported by Gazzetta, this one would involve an £11 million fee. But the only issue that's being reported is the high wages for the player. I think it's over 3 million per year. So that's one to watch definitely in the coming months, obviously, as we tick towards January and going towards the January transfer window. Whether the Freakins are going to be in and they're going to have much influence in terms of what our transfer budget is, I'm not so sure. I'm not 100% sure where we're up to with that one. It does seem relatively quiet in terms of takeover news, but that being said, it's definitely one to watch, this Samuel Chukwueze deal. And if the reports coming out of Italy that Everton are interested, let's just keep an eye on it. Let's just see what happens as we tick over into January. But on the topic of the freaking group and with some more freaking news coming away from the transfer market, his net worth has actually risen by a huge 77%. That's been reported this week. And it sees him move into 393rd in the Forbes Global Rich List, which it does get you excited as an Evertonian, doesn't it? It does get you relatively optimistic, shall we say, for the takeover, which is pending with the freaking group. So I'm hoping that he can use some of that wealth and catapult us to the next level. But fingers crossed that one gets over the line. But yeah, just wanted to give you some freaking news and give you the news that his net worth has risen and by an eye-watering 77%. But that is all for today's news on the 24/7 news report for today. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts on the team news, but also the transfer news and also the news surrounding the freaking group. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I'll speak to you soon.